Marcus.
Welcome to Next Level Play.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Marcus.
And we are your best source for all things gaming, where we talk about video games, esports, movies,
all sorts of things in pop culture. We take a look at things that are going on in the industry. We cover some hot topics.
Yeah, like right
in the
now,
news.
microtransactions.
Yeah. We also make some bold predictions about the future, and we always have an exciting guest.
Yeah, today we're gonna have Judy Jetset back on. If you caught our last ep, she's gonna be talking about Brooklyn and all the cool gaming stuff going on there in that sphere, because we are your best source for all things gaming.
Yeah, the future
Of esports
and gaming.
is right here.
Right now,
Next Level Play.
Sydney, how are you today?
I'm good, Marcus.
Yeah?
It's summertime in New York City. It's
Living's easy.
hot and the living's sweaty.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's getting to that time where you leave your house and it's balmy.
Yeah, there's a puddle that you bring with you.
Into
Yeah.
every subway car, and then you get freezing because the AC's blasting again.
I'm from Minnesota, so I don't.
You don't care.
Well, no, I care. It's affected me quite a bit. I thought I never sweat.
What?
I was wrong on that since moving to New York.
But it's great. Everybody's like out and about doing stuff.
Or staying inside in a nice air-controlled little area and playing video games all day.
Honestly, it has been my escapism from the heat.
Yes.
I like to go into my cave, turn off the lights. Do you game with the lights off, or do you not care?
Depends on the game.
Yeah. Horror games, absolutely.
Always lights off. Headphones, lights off, blinds down.
Yep, blindfold on, because I'm scared.
Mhm.
But no, I've been gaming a lot lately to kind of escape the heat and to chill out. Have you been playing anything fun lately?
What have I been playing? Oh, you know what? I'm going to lose all my credibility here.
What?
So, Red Dead Redemption 2 just came out on PlayStation Plus. It's a game that I've tried to get into a couple times over the years, and I forgot why I never really got into it.
There's a lot of hype, and I feel like sometimes the hype turns people off because they're like, I will play it when everyone's not talking about it. And I understand that.
I am not trying to like pat myself on the back. I work pretty hard. I wear a few hats. I have several jobs. So a lot of the times when I play video games, it's at the end of like a long 10 to 12 hour day, and I kind of just want to turn my brain off and like indulge. Red Dead Redemption 2, I still have hope that it's the amazing experience that so many people have said, but I remembered instantly why I had turned it off the last two previous
It's not a
attempts.
relaxing game to turn your brain off.
Well, it's more that I start the game and I spend like 15 minutes just holding A and walking through the snow on my horse.
You're in the
and
tutorial.
talking.
You're in the
Yes.
tutorial.
And then finally, like, and before I had always quit. And this time I finally got to that first house where you like save the woman in the basement.
You're
and, like,
almost done with the
kill
tutorial.
bandits.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. I was like, finally, we're like here. And then they like do another cutscene,
Yeah.
and then I'm back on my fucking horse, walking through the snow, talking to Dutch, and I'm just like
Fighting the wolves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need instant escapism, and you're not giving it to me, and it's hard for me to jump in. I suck. I'm the worst fucking gamer.
No, I completely understand.
But when I have Enter the Gungeon ready for me for like instant action and high octane, like
everybody's got their thing, and everybody has their frustrations in gaming. That's for sure. That's why people, that's why there's so many different types of games out there for your specific niche. But I think one of the most frustrating thing in the gaming sphere and full of controversy is microtransactional games.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, and there's a fine line. I believe I talked about Helldivers 2 and how I, bought some in-game creds so I could get some cool armor and stuff, which I really never do. I just really liked the game, and I was streaming it, and I was like, I want a cool fucking helmet. I want to look cool. Whatever.
Well, we're adults, and I've come around on this where I've realized, like, if this is your passion and your hobby and you're spending hours, hundreds of hours on a game, if you want to spend some of your disposable income on that, obviously I wouldn't judge how you spend your money regardless, but like that seems, the fact that people get kind of up in arms about it is silly to me when I'm like, if you're a young adult, a night out in New York especially, it costs
$100
$100 to $200 easily.
Yep.
Which like
If that's how you want to spend your money.
If that's how you want to spend your money, great.
Do it.
But I know people who do that 3-4 times a week. And it's like, if you want to spend $50 on microtransactions in a video game, that seems like a better investment.
Yeah, it's the classic thing. Like, do you want your $9 latte or do you want to spend it on this video game that you play?
Right.
It's all relative. 6 in one, half a dozen in the other.
It's all relative.
That being said, I agree. And I don't think it really matters. If you want to spend your money, do it as long as the game doesn't enable people to do the microtransactions to better themselves in the game and get further than other players. Then it gets into the weeds a little bit of you have to pay to play at the level that everybody else is playing at, which again, whatever, like there's certain games that thrive off of that and people love those games and they continue to pay to be able to do that, so be it.
Yeah.
There's a ridiculous, and I think we can all agree that this one is fucking ridiculous. But this came out recently. Riot Games is dropping a $400 skin package that includes, guess how many? 2 skins of Ari from League of Legends.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. $400 for 2 skins? It's kind of crazy.
It is, and yet I'm torn.
Oh,
and yet I'm torn.
Not what I thought you were gonna say.
I know, because I honestly, as I was thinking about it, I like changed my opinion during your monologue.
If your opinion isn't, if Riot Games wants to freaking pull the wool over the heads of these suckers, let them do it, then I don't care.
Here's the difference, and this is how I defend microtransactions. I've said this before on the podcast. I have no issue with microtransactions in games such as Fall Guys, Fortnite, League of Legends. These are games where free-to-play genuinely means free-to-play. If you are not spending a dime on this game,
you can still play it.
You can still not only play it, but compete at the highest level with no advantages. League of Legends, I'm not positive about. But I mean, for most of these games, these microtransactions, as I've said before, if it's a purely aesthetic kind of peripheral type of enhancement on a game that you already spend a ton of time on.
Skins, cosmetics, whatever.
I'm not offended by it. I'm a little put off at the fact that clearly this is like, it doesn't cost them anymore to make this certain skin and they're only up in the market based on, supply and demand, which Econ 101, but also a little slimy.
Yeah.
But if they were like, hey, if you spend $400, you have this edge over your competition and your aim is 10% better and your weapons have 20% more damage, that would piss me off to no end.
Yeah.
The fact that it's purely aesthetic and is like an obnoxious, like, yeah, we're creating a market where people are basically flexing how much money they spent on the game.
Yes.
Which is gross in a lot of ways.
To other players as well. Yeah. It's a very showboaty thing because everybody knows that those skins were dropped and that they cost $400.
Right. Which is like the whole point of it.
Yes.
It's like a designer brand that's made, shit.
It's wearing a Chanel bag and driving a Lamborghini.
100%.
You're screaming at the world that you can afford that.
Which it's like, that's the world we live in, which kind of sucks. And I'm not thrilled that Riot is, like, to me, I feel like all skins should be the same price point. But it's just not the world we live in.
I don't agree with that. I do think that there is something to be said, like, and this goes, bigger than just the in-game transactions. But we've talked about the rising cost of, like, video games that is right in correlation with the rising cost of production. Because
these huge games could not exist without getting a profit somehow.
In game, yes. And whether it's through merchandise or sponsorships or whatever, like a touring artist, they don't make their money off of their album sales. They make their money off of touring and mostly merch, and all these other things. So I don't have an issue with this aspect because, I want Riot Games to keep making games. I want Naughty Dog to keep making games. Yeah. I want to continue to play the games I love. And if they have to do a $400 skin and people are going to buy it, whatever.
Well, they don't have to. I think that's a clear distinction.
Have to.
Nah, I think Riot Games is doing just fine without this $400 skin.
But I think that it might be morally corrupt.
Yeah. Ethics, it's questionable for sure.
Yeah.
I think that compared to other offenders,
Sure.
You know, like we're talking the whole Justice League or Suicide Squad game.
Oh, God,
you know,
yeah.
Or like DLC. There's certain games that clearly are not complete without their DLC or microtransactions, and that is where it crosses the line.
And I think a good example that we've talked about before, because there was continually, you know, outrage about it when it came out, but Mortal Kombat with their in-game, and it's cosmetics, you know, like it's skins and stuff, but their prices, many players who love the Mortal Kombat games were like, I don't want to have to buy this stuff.
Right.
I'm not interested in doing this. And I think it really made a lot of people sour to Mortal Kombat and might have stopped them from being a player. Like,
and there is, I think we kind of combat this where I come from a pre-law background, so a lot of the times my argument will come from like a purely legal stance, whereas you tend, naturally, human nature, like more of a moralistic argument where like I will shield myself from that, but like the world exists with both, you know, and you have to balance both. But I'm going all the way to say like there's a legal argument about false advertising with some of the way that games are released nowadays, incomplete and reliant on microtransactions and additional purchases, that I feel will be in court in the next few years.
You know what's interesting? That brings me to my next point, which is about the game StarCitizen. If you're familiar, it's basically a game that's been in development for, I don't even know, 10 years, like a really long time. It has not been released. Like it's still in development. You can play it, but it hasn't been fully released.
Is it like alpha, beta? Do you know?
I don't even, look it up. I'm actually curious if they'll even say.
What is it now?
StarCitizen. And I have friends who play it and they really like it. But basically, StarCitizen has reached the $700 million raised goal that they had. And there's...
Wait.
Yeah.
700...
I mean, they have been in development for 10 plus years.
But that's...
And they have been raising...
$1 billion.
They've been raising money from the fans and players. You know, it's like a Kickstarter.
Wait,
like
not 6 million, 600 million?
700 million. And they've been raising that money to like, you know, develop the game. We're going to put the game out. But what they keep doing is adding more ships to the game and more like planets and things to the game and making people buy them. So like it is one of those in-game microtransactional things, but people like the game, and it's sort of like this forever in limbo development game, but they keep adding things to it for people to purchase, so they keep playing it. But it's still not released. It's still not out there. But people, every time they add a new ship, people who play the game are like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll $10, whatever, like I'll buy this ship to do this mission or like do this thing. It's crazy to me. It seems buck wild. I'm curious when they started the game, because I know this is blowing your mind.
No, I just don't even know where to begin. It started crowdfunding in 2012.
Yeah. So over 10 years.
I mean, I don't know anything about this.
Isn't it crazy though?
You know, I'm recorded, so I'm just going to say that this screams like the ultimate Kickstarter scam that has ever been conceived, and I feel like within 5 years there's going to be some giant fallout, and this game will not be coming out.
They keep adding stuff to the game. It's not like it's not like they put out an unfinished, unreleased game and got the money and didn't do anything. Like they're still adding things, and people aren't necessarily mad, but they are upset that the game still has no release date. You know, for people that backed this and put in a ton of money, they're like,
no shit.
I want the full game.
Bridges don't take this long to fucking build.
Rome didn't take this long.
No, this is insane.
To fucking build. Isn't it crazy?
And I'm not someone who does a lot of Kickstarter, not because I'm like against the concept.
I don't believe in it.
No, I'm a little frugal, I'll admit it. I'm a little bit of an asshole. Like, I get it. But like, I don't like to invest in things that I don't know are, and I get it, it's the point of investing, but like if I'm going to invest, I'm going to go in the stock market. Like I'm not going to go.
Oh, that's safer.
Well, I'm not going to give it to just some like.
No, I know, but there's a difference. You're a
bumblefuck who's like, I'm making a game.
You're a low risk investor. You're investing in things that, you know, have backing and have promise.
Just because someone says and has big a lot of people have dreams. A lot of people have ambitions. That doesn't mean I'm going to give you money. Like, sorry.
I love to invest.
and that's beautiful.
I'm giving out left and right, and I'm like, I think you could do it.
And I'm a cynical piece of shit, and like I get that, but I also understand human nature and the fact that like this world chews you up and spits you out. And
can I make a confession?
Please.
I've donated over $500 million to StarCitizen.
I believe that's where all that money came from.
I don't think it's ever going to come out, Marcus.
Well, I mean, it's just like, it is insulting, honestly. Yeah. If you invested in this a decade ago and you still don't have the product that you invested in, like...
I mean, fans felt this way about the Kingdom Hearts 3 game, but we didn't
invest. You didn't pay for it.
$700 million.
No. Disney and Square like funded that bill, like footed that bill. So I just...
Yeah, that one is buck wild, and my friend is actually currently playing it, which is how I even found out about this game. I didn't even know it existed, which is crazy that it has, the player base that it has and the support that it has, considering that it has been in development for over 12 years with no end goal in sight. But people do like it, and they do support it, and they keep buying new in-game things. So I don't know. This kind of like disproves my whole thought about these microtransactions.
And I'm torn because obviously there's like a playable beta, the way you're describing it. I don't know anything about this, but obviously like there's a playable beta that people are practicing with or playing with or fooling around with. I don't know. Clearly, people are getting stuff from these updates and continuing to test it, but
$700 million. That's a lot of money.
To not have a product from almost $1 billion. Like, we're talking about countries' GDPs at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the $400 skin package really pales in comparison.
Like $10 million and still not having, I'd be like,
I can't
get
even
your shit together. But also, like,
I
No,
know. I know. And it's hard to tell, like, with this, it's an independent, they're making the game. I don't know what their structure is like, and I'm sure the money goes away very quickly. But there is something to be said about these game companies and the greed, with the Mortal Kombat game. That's Warner Brothers. Like, they don't need to make, like, some games, they thrive and can survive off of those microtransactions, like Helldivers, is it Larian Studios? Arrowhead. They thrive off of that. Warner Brothers, you don't need to do that. And guess what they added to Mortal Kombat? A Homelander skin from the boys, to rope people in. Except the character is not even voiced by the Homelander actor, Anthony Starr. So it's like, are you cutting corners by not even getting the actor? I don't know. It gives me the ick. Like, the idea of purchasing the skins and then making it Homelander, but then not actually hiring the actor to do the voice.
And also with that especially, I have a very hard time believing that they couldn't get the voice actor.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I think they just didn't feel like paying him.
Yes, I think that's exactly it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm torn, I should say.
Which is bullshit, because like obviously you're going to make the profit back with the sales of this. So,
but I am torn because I don't think that in every video game situation with a character that is based on a TV show or a movie needs to be the same voice actor.
No.
And in fact, I think the diversity is important, especially because if it's a live action movie, maybe you can find somebody who's better suited for the voice acting role, or vice versa. For instance, in The Last of Us, Ashley Johnson is the voice actor for the role of Ellie, who's a teen girl, and Ashley Johnson is not a teen girl. So when they made the TV show, obviously she wouldn't be cast. She still was cast in the show. She had a cameo part, and like that's really cool, paying homage to her and like what she did for the game. But yeah, I don't think every scenario is the same.
No.
But certain scenarios are, and certain characters, I think the voice means so much to people. I don't know.
No,
it's a tricky one.
I'm with you, and I think there's a fine line, but for me the line is Michael Jordan in the 90s famously was like, no, you can't have my license. I'm not taking that little like $10,000 that you're going to pay me to like have my license in a video game, because I'm worth a hell of a lot more than that. And Michael Jordan's right, but that's Michael Jordan. So for me, it's like the actor for The Boys, I can vision him in my head, but I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Anthony Starr.
Thank you. Anthony Starr, amazing actor. Way more talented than I am. This is not a knock on you at all in any way, shape, or form, because I assume Warner Brothers just like, you would have been more than willing to voice act this for a reasonable rate.
Maybe you weren't. I don't know.
Yeah, but like Michael Jordan deserves like millions of dollars to use his likeness in a video game, and that's earned and that's respected. Anthony Starr, you're also worth millions. I promise you, I love you. You're amazing. But like, I assume that it probably wasn't quite that much of a price point for your services. And I think Warner Brothers was like, we don't need to pay him what he deserves. We can get away with this because it's just a video game. It's just DLC, and we're gonna make more of a profit this way. And it's a fine line, but I think, you know, I agree with you. Like, you need that authenticity, and I feel like it's a reasonable price to gain that authenticity if it's a product that is still being modern produced and that actor is available. If you're doing a James Bond game and you want like a Sean Connery likeness, like, yeah, obviously, like, have an impersonator, and that's understandable.
Yeah. Speaking of studios and movie studios, though, I wanted to ask you about a little movie that's coming out that I feel like you like. I don't know.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about Joker 2 with Jokerina. She's gonna be in it.
Oh boy.
Beloved DC character, Jokerina, the girl Joker.
I've got a lot of opinions about
Did you see
Joker
the trailer?
in general. Yeah.
Yeah, thoughts?
It's good. I mean,
I rolled my freaking eyes in the theater when I went
Sydney has the hot take to start. Let's go.
Dude, I like almost fell asleep during Joker in theaters. I kind of nodded off for like 5 minutes and woke back up. The idea of everything being the gritty remake and, you know, DC really going in the opposite direction of Marvel with their films, and they always have, you know, Dark Knight Rises, amazing movie, Dark Knight, love it. They've never gone for the bright, poppy kind of Marvel look comedy stuff. Yeah. And I appreciate that. But the Joker film like took it one step further by making it like a biopic, you know? And I'm just like, who asked for this? Yeah. And Joaquin Phoenix is an amazing actor. I really like him as an actor. I did not care about him as the Joker.
For sure.
So now with Joker 2 and Lady Gaga.
That's a hot take, but I know where you're coming from.
It's okay. I'm going to get some flack, and it's my...
It's not like you want an Oscar
for it. Lady Gaga, I don't know. It's fine, I guess. Yeah. Like, I'm just, like, not enthralled by either of them being together on screen. Yeah. Like, I don't really love Lady Gaga separately, but she's fine. I mean, like, don't come for me, Lady Gaga fans. She's fine. I just mean as an actor, I'm like, sure, whatever. I saw the trailer, and it's like grandiose musical numbers, surrealism, like flying through the air together, like loving, like in a circle. If the movie turns out to be, you know, like the dream sequences of a madman, if it's like the concept in the first film, spoilers, with, you know, the Joker imagining his neighbor who loves him and like, you know, that whole sequence, that was the most interesting part of the entire film. If this movie is about like him and Harley's relationship and how they're both mentally unwell and sort of these like dream scenarios where they're in love and flying down a staircase and like blah, 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 maybe I'd be into it. The surrealism of it. The
first time I watched Joker, I was genuinely impressed. I loved the snapshot of kind of a more grittier New York than I think people imagine. I thought.
Don't you mean Gotham City?
I thought it was an excellent kind of perspective on mental health. It was very much like you know, more relatable Catcher in the Rye type situation. I thought Robert De Niro's performance was excellent. And then I stopped the movie and I realized I watched Taxi Driver. So then I was like, oh shit, okay.
Marcus!
So then I watched Joker and then I was like, oh, it's the same shit. And that's what it is. Joker to me is a modern day remake with a super villain lens of Taxi Driver. That's all it is. It's Taxi Driver. It's still a great tale, great for film. It was well executed, very well acted. I don't think Joaquin Phoenix didn't deserve the Oscar. I do think he did deserve it. I think it came out at the perfect time of like political unrest and kind of this like, you know, toxic masculinity meets mental health meets a lot of stuff. And
incel community on the rise.
100%. Yeah. And I think it came out at the right time and struck a certain chord where those of us who had, you know, I don't know, seen Taxi Driver before were kind of just like, all right. But a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is so deep. Yeah. It's so good. And for me, it's always screamed a little pretentious. I'm going to get lampooned. But like,
that's what I said.
That's just, I think it's I think it's a well-made movie, and it doesn't not deserve any of its accolades, but I do look at Joker personally as a film snob. Asshole. Piece of shit. I think Joker is one of the most overrated movies of the last 10 years.
So I think ultimately you and I agree. Yeah. I felt like I was shitting on it, but really, like, it's not like it's a bad movie. It's just overrated for what it is.
It's a great performance meets a recycled kind of challenging morality story put in the modern lens.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
I do want to defend it on one part, but please.
No.
I'm sorry to
defend.
Lady Gaga, I've always actually been very impressed by her acting performance and her chops.
Mm-hmm.
I think she makes a really good Harley Quinn.
I think she does too.
I'm kind of excited about that.
I think she does too. I think, like Margot Robbie playing her in Suicide Squad also did.
She's amazing.
It's Margot Robbie.
Yeah, great, such a good.
Did a wonderful job, but I like the idea of somebody different playing her in the film with Joker. It's a different universe, basically. Like I don't think Margot Robbie and Joaquin would have been the pairing that I would also want. Maybe it's just a hard pair to cast.
But also, and this is me kind of stepping back, Lady Gaga and Margot Robbie kind of scratch a similar itch. They're very similar types. I would almost prefer they go in like a completely different direction than like petite, blonde, pretty girl for Harley Quinn.
But that's Harley Quinn.
It doesn't have to be.
I guess. I guess.
They've gone in a lot of different directions with the Joker.
I'm curious. I'm more interested.
And they're all white dudes, to be fair, but like,
Well, I think that where I'm at is like, I'm more interested to see Lady Gaga and what she does with Harley Quinn than I am to see Joaquin with the Joker again.
Agreed.
I'm like, yeah.
But I'm more interested as like someone looking at Lady Gaga as an actor than I am looking at Harley Quinn as a character.
I'm kind of both.
That's like me in actor mode being like, let's see what you got, Lady Gaga.
I think both. I think, I love superhero films and I love Marvel movies because I get to see different interpretations of the same superhero that I've read about and seen in TV shows and stuff. Like I love to see the movie iterations because of the new casting, and I think that's really fun. So I'm excited for that reason. I like to see. I want to see what she does with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's iconic. I mean, I would love to fucking play Harley. Are you kidding me? Like
you'd be good at Harley. I could see you playing Harley.
The baseball bat.
Yeah.
I could be crazy. You hear that?
You'd be great.
You hear that, DC? I could be crazy. What was I going to say? Oh. But here's my really hot take. If they don't take a page out of the beloved Suicide Squad video game and kill Batman at the end of Joker 2, Joker vs. Jokerina, I will walk out of the theater.
If they put Batman in this movie at all,
it's going to be trash.
Yeah, they can't.
Oh my God,
they know they can't. They know they can't.
Garbage.
They know they can't.
Could you imagine?
Yes, I can.
It'd be bad.
Yes, I can. And I think they showed restraint not making anything about Batman. I think they mentioned the Waynes, right?
They do.
At one point.
They do.
Which even that, it was like...
I think they showed restraint not putting anything in the trailer that gives anything away whatsoever. Normally trailers really, I feel like these days, show a lot of the movie and kind of spoon feed you what's going on. This trailer was kind of just like some musical numbers.
I mean, this is more of a teaser, which like...
That's true. That's true. We'll get the full 3-minute trailer soon.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get lampooned, but...
So am I. Come for me.
Joker 2, I'm sure it's going to be a great movie.
Joker 2, Joker Loves Jokerina.
I hope it's good.
Coming to a theater near you.
Yeah.
So. Speaking of good, I have a fun... I love asking these fun little questions. It's a nice like reprieve from basically complaining and being upset with the world at times.
Never.
No, not you, Marcus. No. Not you. Never you. Are you the type of gamer who cannot put a game down? I guess this is also like, are you the type of reader, like can't put a book down when there's like a really good chapter? Are you the type of gamer where you can't put the game down if you're facing off like a big bad or a boss, and maybe it's like you keep coming back to it, you've died multiple times, or you have like a losing streak of something, depending on the kind of game you're playing? Will you just ride it out until you beat it? Like, let me set the scene. It's 3 a.m. You've been playing for 3 hours, 4 hours. You started at midnight or started at 11, and you were like, I'll just play for an hour and then go to bed.
Right.
It's 3 a.m. because you have been fighting this same boss for the last hour. Do you turn it off and go to bed?
That's a really good question. What you're describing is the high that
Mm.
I am constantly chasing.
Ah.
So if I can find a game that truly captures my interest to an obsessive degree where I'm like, I gotta do it. And I'm also someone who's very hard on myself personally. So like I will be like, I'll give myself pep talks and like, you can beat this. If I get in that obsessive mode, yes, I will stay up all night to like get to a certain point. I will push it until the point of like, I only need 2 hours of sleep as far as I can to like beat it. The problem is it's so rare. I'm 30 and like to find a game now that like captures that obsession is rare. I'm saying like maybe once a year for like a couple months I'll find myself engrossed in a game to that level. And I love it. And like that is like as a kid, you know, I was limited to 60 minutes of video game time like a day. Set the little stove timer and all that. So like I would look forward to that kind of gaming. And like now that I have full access as an adult, it's like to capture that feeling of like just complete escapism that gaming provides is rare. And I allude to this a lot on the podcast. Like, it's 2024. I got a healthy dose of diagnosed ADD and OCD sprinkled in. So it's hard for me to find a game that enraptures me in such a sense. And to find it is magic, and I try to hold on to it. So yes, when a game fully grips me, I become obsessive with it, and I love that feeling. And it's a problem for me when I find games that I'm only like kind of into, and then I get kind of stuck because you kind of need that obsessive motivation to power through.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's rare that I find that level of obsession, and I cherish it.
I think I'm similar, but you and I differ a lot though, because like I am not a completionist, and I think part of it is due to my ADHD brain and just the fact that I play a lot of games and I say my saying, I'll try anything twice. I always say that. And it's true. Like I'll try any video game, even if it's not my style, but it doesn't mean I'm going to play it through. Yeah. You know, I might give it a halfway and then I'm like, whatever. So to like have that motivation to beat the big bad at 3 a.m., I really struggle. And especially because I get frustrated with myself.
Sure.
Dude, I remember growing up playing games where if I couldn't beat a boss, I'd be like, fuck it. And just like put the controller down and be like, I need to go touch grass, you know, like, and just take a full break. Like I would just fully walk away.
That's healthy though.
That's healthy.
Yeah.
But like, that's why, you know, Dark Souls games are so frustrating to me and not really made for me because I just get frustrated and it kind of ruins the fun of it and like the like willpower to be like, I want to beat it. Like you're like, I'm hard on myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm hard on myself in a different way. I'm like, I give up. But I think what's really helped me is streaming games.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, the first game I ever streamed was Last of Us during the lockdown because I was like, finally, I literally have no excuse except to start streaming because I always was like, I'll try it eventually. So I finally started. And I think when I stream a game, the public shame and embarrassment of like not doing well on stream is my good motivation, my healthy motivation, healthy dose of being like, try again, you know, try again. So I like streamed Last of Us parts 1 and 2 and like completed those games fully. I don't think I platinumed that shit, but whatever, who cares? And now, you know, when I play a game that's an RPG or something and I stream it, I definitely feel more motivated and positively. Like my chat is so nice. Like everybody who watches me is super supportive and they're always like, try again. And I'm like, that's what I need in my brain because my brain like doesn't tell me that. So yeah, I think I've grown to be more accepting to like just one more try.
Yeah.
But also I'm 30 and I have work tomorrow. So sometimes at 3 a.m. I simply have to take a deep breath and shut the game down.
That's hard for me is to like stop while you're behind or stop while you're ahead. And it's like,
especially in like open world games too. Like I get so sucked in, but this goes hand in hand. And this is like, I think where we'll end it before, because we have to move on. Is there a game out there that like you'll be playing forever?
Ooh.
I don't know if it's a replay thing or if, you know.
That's a really good question.
If they'll make new versions, you know, if there's a game like Resident Evil, I know you really love.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing with Resident Evil, it's like I've played through the campaign of Resident Evil. I've done a knife-only run.
Oh, that's fun.
It's not, but it's hard. It's hard. You know, it's like one of those things where it's like, I can do this. There's only so much you can really kind of gameplay. Tetris, I'll always play. I know that's a pretty easy answer.
I didn't think you would go there. Yeah.
Really?
Wow. No.
Oh, I love Tetris. I still play Tetris 99 all the time.
Wow.
Like, I love Tetris. Tetris is great.
That is a game that you can always play.
Tetris is one of the most pure like gameplay loops of all time. Like that will never ever get old. Outside of certain ties with nostalgia, like Super Mario Brothers 3, I can play that again and again and again. But there is a certain point where the levels are the same, and it's like I will run out. I think by the 50th playthrough of Super Mario 3, which I'm already probably 30 plus at this point.
I'll open up the question because that single game is hard.
Yeah.
I'm saying more like a game that maybe has a few iterations that you could see yourself continuing in that story world.
I mean, Super Mario Maker 2 I've had for over 5 years, and I have a hard time believing that that'll ever get old because it's constantly refreshed and because it's like, it's such a sandbox in the fact that will I ever get old of, or get old of, you will get old. Will I ever get sick of playing, I don't know, what's another game? Monopoly. It's like, there's enough variation with every gameplay where I talk all the time about Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Where I used to be very against roguelikes, dungeon crawlers, and roguelikes. I can't.
You got there.
It's like laptop and laptop. It's I know the answer.
Laptop?
It's.
Did you say
laptop? It's laptop.
I've never heard someone say laptop.
You've never.
Laptop.
I'm an idiot. All right, so that's what I'm trying to say. But it's. What was I talking about? Mario Maker?
Yeah.
No, I was talking about something else.
Can I go now?
Yeah, please.
I was just gonna say mine is like a quick, easy answer. The Sims. It's the only game franchise that I've had from like start to current. I always get the new Sims game, and they're constantly whether they'll make a Sims 5, who's to say? But they still, like you said, there's always updates.
Yeah.
There's always some like injection of freshness. There's mods. Like there's so much going on with that world. It's kind of a cheat answer because it's such a huge game.
It's just, and that I think I lean more into that where it's like personal creativity that creates longevity, which similar to Mario Maker 2.
Yeah.
The argument that I was trying to form in my head was that I used to be super against kind of procedurally generated, artificial intelligence generated kind of level design that like inflates length of game and replayability. That being said, like I'd still rather that than something that's like, if it's designed well enough, like a Binding of Isaac, like a Enter the Gungeon, it can be done in a way that is nearly infinitely playable. However, I think there's a limit, and I think there's like a certain uncanny valley Turing test part of it, where like games like The Sims, games like Super Mario Maker, where there's a human element that because human creativity is boundless, and if you allow for that, that's how your games become truly limitless as far as replayability.
Totally, I agree.
And I think part of it, the other flip of the coin would be there's certain games where like, Call of Duty 4 multiplayer at the height of its peak, a little redundant, amazing. And if those servers and player base was constant throughout the end of time, that game would be instantly replayable.
Yeah.
But it's not because servers die and people move on to other games. So it's I think replayability is dependent ultimately on human interest as well as human creativity.
It's hard. It's the desert island question. Maybe we'll come back to. I feel like we can talk about this more.
For sure.
But we have to wrap it up because we have Judy Jetset's back with us in the stew.
Hey.
I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about a lot of fantastic esports and video game stuff with her. So stick around. Welcome back. We're here again with Judy. If you didn't catch her first part of the interview, what are you doing? Well, stick around, keep watching this one, but then go back and watch that one because we talked about a whole bunch of stuff like her experience at Red Bull, her experience in the esports community, and so much more.
Yeah.
But we're not done. We have a lot more we need to talk about.
You can watch it out of order, a little Pulp Fiction for you, make things more exciting.
Cut it up, put it in reverse like Memento. You could do anything. But Judy, please reintroduce yourself if folks haven't met you yet.
Hello again. My name is Judy Jetset Barbosa Macias. I'm known as Jetset on the internet, but you can call me Judy.
So when you meet Judy at Brooklyn Land, where she currently works, please just call her Judy. I did want to talk about Brooklyn Land. So maybe we start there. Brooklyn Land is a local. How would you describe it? I mean, if you want to describe it, go off, Queen.
Yeah, no, thank you. Brookland is a bar, land center, multi-purpose gaming space. And we're trying to be the home for every community in the local area.
Yeah, it's in Bushwick, right off the L train. I literally used to live down the street from it. And I would go there pretty often, but
Nice.
also it's popping. Like, it's a busy, not only a bar space, like people go there just for drinks and hanging out, but
Right.
if you walk by, you will see everybody absolutely losing their mind playing Mario Kart, in the front window area. But
It's so fun. But
it's so fun.
First of all, that neighborhood there are so many well-dressed people in that neighborhood. It's insane.
It's a scene. Don't even get me started.
Listen, I live in Queens. I've told people this for years. I'm not cool enough to live in Brooklyn.
You
This is
have
just
to
evidence of
leave
it.
your apartment and you have to be seen, if you
Mhm.
know what I mean. Like, I would go get coffee. It's like 8 a.m. I would like grab a coffee at the corner place and everyone already is like sunglasses on, little dog, and they're just like standing, like waiting for someone.
Statuesque.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
for someone to notice them. And I was like, I can't take this anymore.
It was insane.
That's part of the problem, though. I would wear the most fucked up outfits you've ever seen because it was Brooklyn. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah, you fit right in, I'm sure.
So if you want to wear a fucked up outfit, you can go to Brooklyn and do that.
You're very Brooklyn. Like, I don't.
What?
Yes. Come
What?
on now.
But I'm a nerd,
That was exactly.
Marcus.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's an insult or a
Yeah,
compliment.
No, it's a
I
compliment.
can't tell if you're being nice or mean.
No, I'm trying to it's hard for me. I'm trying to compliment you and
I'll
saying
take
you're
it.
cool enough for Brooklyn.
Thank you.
I am not.
We're all cool enough for Brooklyn.
But bar,
there's Brookland.
land,
So yeah,
and
on top of-
delightful, but not bland.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
You're giving me way too much credit for
Also,
that.
I gotta say, the Brooklyn space is very big, and not even just New York City terms big. Like, it is a huge kind of open floor plan space. Like, in the back, there's tables in the gaming area. They have a whole separate room for the actual like LAN games and computers.
We have a stage that we can put setups on.
Yeah.
We used to do 6v6 Overwatch stuff. But it's
Dang.
really, really fun.
So
it's really fun.
this is a new job,
New for me.
new for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell me about it. Tell me what's up.
Yeah, I'm looking for everyone interested in, building a community in a live space. So I'm looking for people who have actual plays, who want to plus up their actual plays. Oh, right, that's the other thing. In addition to, us having all of this cool tech for, a land space, we can also do like tons of cool streaming stuff. So we've done live streams for like broadcasts for esports events, for I've one of the qualifiers for Subway Showdown for Brooklyn was at Brookland. There's a lot that this place is capable of, and I really hope that more people can come and call this place home.
Very
Heck
cool.
yeah. And go ahead.
I know. I would love to see like I know these are huge events that you might not be able to accommodate, but like a GDQ type situation at this type of space, because those are events that I'd love to go to, but they're always in some hotel in Minneapolis, like in the middle of the country.
They're
so,
out there.
Yeah. So I'd love to see something. I don't know. I feel
And
Yeah.
you guys have
the
done
sky's the limit, is what I'm trying to say.
and you've done
Yeah.
tournaments there already.
There's all sorts of tournaments. We have monthlies of our own, and we have people come through and like host their stuff with us, and so
Heck
Very
it's
cool.
there's a lot. We have we have at least a monthly in a fighting game. We have Magic the Gathering draft and
Ooh.
Commander weeklies. We have board game meetups. We
Hell
have
yeah.
trivia weekly. We have karaoke monthly.
What?
Beer pong league is starting up.
Okay. Yup.
Yeah.
This is why
It's
I love
happening.
Brooklyn, because the difference is like there's a lot of gaming cafes in the city, and there's also a lot of video game cafes. There's also a lot of arcade cafes. You got the barcades and stuff. And like the gaming cafes do cater themselves to TTRPGs, D&D groups, things like that. They'll have board games and stuff, but then they don't have space or the faculty or the supplies for anything else. So like Brooklyn really weaves in all the things together
Yeah.
because not only can you like pay for a day pass and just go and play, Dead by Daylight with your friends online or like anything, League online, like whatever you want to play. You can sit and do that and chill, and it's a much kind of quieter, separate space from the bar area. Then you can come out get a funky cocktail, because you guys also have like silly little cocktails. I love a silly.
They're very special.
I love
They're
a
all
silly.
gaming themed.
I love a silly
What's
game
your favorite?
cocktail.
Maybe the Twilight Princess.
Oh,
okay.
come
I like the
on.
name. What is it?
It's a whiskey cocktail with
Marcus is
and I'm not a
a
huge whiskey
whiskey
fan, but
Yeah.
I will mess up a Twilight Princess. It's
But
very good.
That
so
sounds
you can go to the bar. There's
delicious.
food and drinks, and I've had food there, and the food's really good. And then if you want, like even in the front area, if you're just chilling and you're like, oh, I'm like not a gamer or whatever that means, you can be a gamer. There's casual gaming, you know. There's like Mario Kart. What do you guys have? Mario Kart.
You know what? This Friday. Well, I don't know when this is coming out, but Friday, June 7th, I believe it is. We're doing this tournament we call Don't Drink and Drive.
Stop.
2 rules. You have to finish your drink before you finish the race, but you can't drink with your hands on the controller. So you have to put the controller down,
Playing Mario
drink,
Kart.
and then put the drink down, and then playing Mario Kart.
This would make my friend group absolutely freak out at each other.
I'm so excited.
I'm an above average gamer. I'm no
So yeah,
pro, but I think I'd do pretty.
You'd
you
mess
think you would
that up,
crush
huh?
it? Are you just gonna what's your strategy?
Yeah.
You're
Well,
just gonna
I trained the University of Wisconsin. I can put a drink down quickly and then pick the controller back up. I'm not gonna be like.
Okay, here's my thing. If I have a beer bottle, I could just pick it up with my mouth and just swing it like this.
Oh, but you're
That's not allowed?
No.
you cannot drink and
But
drive.
I'm not holding.
See,
Oh, you just can't.
You need to be able to swallow quickly.
So then the question is, do you do that at the beginning of the race or at the end of the race? Do you race the whole way and then park right before the finish line
That's
and chug it?
cheating. That's cheating.
I would personally probably not even. Well, I try to get the boost from like the. It depends on the game, but if it's Mario Kart, I try
Just
to
imagine
time the
the rush.
boost.
I know.
The 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And then once I ride that momentum, quickly put the controller down while I'm like full acceleration, chug as quickly as I
Whoa.
can, and then pick up.
Oh, so you're just
Optimal.
riding the boost and you're just gonna let
Optimal.
go?
Well, I don't want to like.
Just riding dirty, just
Well, I don't want to fuck with my mental state like halfway through. I want to find a groove and kind of stick with it and get in the zone.
and here's the thing: if you
And I
do
can
it,
drink
if you
quickly.
do it at the end, that's too much pressure. That's like flip cup stuff, where like you're waiting for everyone to just
Right.
zoom up behind you
You're
and cross the finish
and
line.
you're
I'm gonna
choke.
spill.
You're
I'm gonna
literally,
spill it.
literally gonna choke.
I'm gonna choke. I'm gonna spill it all over myself, and everyone's gonna be like, "It's not that serious.
Yes.
It's not that serious. No one's dying." That sounds like so much fun, though.
it's
That
really
does.
exciting, and I'm really excited to put this
Ah,
on. Yeah,
man.
thanks. Shout out to Dynamic Focus putting it together with me.
Also,
love
I gotta
that.
say, like, I do Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm on the Glass Cannon Network, which is an actual play network. We play a lot of different role playing games and TTRPGs. And the fact that, you know, you're working at Brookland and now you're really trying to incorporate like the extended family gaming community.
I have such a vested interest in tabletop.
Well, you love
it's
D&D.
it's so huge. Tabletop. I think the longest running game that I've been in is actually a Vampire the Masquerade game now.
I love
Ooh.
Vampire the
Obsessed.
Masquerade.
Obsessed with World of
I wasn't
Darkness. I
expecting
love it.
that.
I
What
love it. I
is-
love it.
Yeah.
What kind are you playing? What are you playing? An artist? Are you playing?
It's a long story, but we started with do you know Chicago by Night, the Chronicle?
No.
So the way it's like the modules for
Okay.
World of Darkness are sort of city based.
Okay.
So there's New York by Night.
I did the
so-
New York by Night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know. So Chicago by Night is a book that my storyteller was following, and so we started with this module. But like we've grown from like the tiniest, and so we're going up the food chain,
How
and it's
evil
really
are
fun.
you?
I'm trying my hardest to stay good, but it's
Okay.
real. We are actually like these. It's bizarre. Like my power fantasy is like this Amazon futuristic like world of cooperation and technology. It's fun.
Ooh.
The cool thing
awesome.
about it is that we're set in like 2009, 2010.
Mm.
So it's like this like technology spike, and then like
with
we
like
get
low
to,
rise jeans.
So like,
Oh yeah, it's all of the cool stuff that we love, but
Yeah.
also like how does blood magic interface with Y2K era technology?
I love this theme.
It's so fun.
I
It's
was
so fun.
I was gonna say like, oh, kind of like Gene Roddenberry, like technology and cooperation, like in the future, utopia. But no, then
It's
we're
different.
throwing in
It's different.
Y2K and
I
like,
mean, well, yeah, because we're still in the world of darkness, right? So we still have to
Yeah.
do blood magic. I mean,
Dude,
I
see,
love it.
and that's what's so cool. Like, I feel like more and more people who love video games are discovering or rediscovering their love for TTRPGs because it is the ultimate, like, the fantasy. Like, you
Mhm.
get to do what you want to do. It is so sandboxy.
well, yeah, in the same way that like games are art and
Yeah.
like games can be creative and games can be strategic and that's fun. Like solving the puzzle is fun. Like just doing that in a like improv storytelling scenario
With your
your friends is just like
Yeah.
the funnest thing ever.
I can't
Okay, so
imagine.
then follow-up question.
Uh-huh.
Did you play Baldur's Gate 3?
I have decision paralysis. So I am stuck like in the the first 30% of the game because I want to find every single nook and cranny.
Well,
I'm
you're
losing
gonna
my mind.
It's okay. You're gonna do great. That is
I'm trudging along slowly.
So you're that type of player.
I'm the person who made like forked saves in Mass Effect because
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to be too evil.
I
I'm
get
kind
it.
of similar. Where when I play games, I need something that I can like obsess over.
Yeah.
It's like I will pick up a game and try it for an hour and then put it down unless I'm hooked. And if I am hooked, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna play this game for the next 100 hours. So
Dude.
that's the type of gamer I am, and like I'm waiting for Baldur's Gate to hook me,
Yeah.
and it's
I know.
the learning curve, and
Yeah.
because I'm not like a TTRPG type of guy, like it's taken a little while. I'll get there eventually. It's like The Wire. It took me like 3 tries to like get into it, and then I was all in.
I feel that.
But I love and I think like the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 has been so popular, I think speaks volumes about that crossover
Yes.
happening. So like absolutely 1,000% thrilled that you're doing that
Oh,
at
yeah.
Brookland and trying to
And like that's my scheme. My big
Mm.
scheme is to bring more
Yeah.
tabletop stuff to Brookland because like you mentioned, like, you know, a lot of the places that are homes for this kind of thing in person are card shops and, you know, places
Yeah.
where you can get the gear and, you
Totally.
know, they don't have room for much else because of their inventory, right? But like as a hospitality space, you can get your little drinks, you can get your food, you can get your snacks, you have the space. We literally have like esports grade
Mhm.
streaming equipment that you could use if you wanted to record something cool
Make
for
your
a
own
podcaster channel.
podcast.
Like
And
it's cool.
Brooklyn, it feels like the natural progression and evolution and next step of all of these smaller kind of like gaming. I won't call them pop-ups, but institutions, I guess. Your barcades,
Yeah.
your independent gaming shops, your LAN, shops. This is like all of it kind of elevated and brought to the next step.
It's
you
it's
know,
a
which
different
is
angle. I think
inevitable.
it's a different angle that appeals to the social, which is unique for us, right?
Mm.
Like I feel like when we were growing up, gamers were the basement dwellers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like
Yes.
as comfy and cozy as that is for me, as a child of the internet, I like my little
I like
cubby.
my basement.
I
Yeah.
love my little cubby.
I love my
but,
cave.
you know, I also feel uniquely invigorated being able to hang around other people who are nerds like me.
1,000%. And
for
also,
sure.
post-pandemic world, people are itching to have social interaction again and be with like-minded people in a space that feels good and safe and supportive, and gaming can be intimidating. And so can the
Yeah.
TTRPG community. My first time I ever played, I've told this story maybe before, I went to a gaming cafe alone and was like, hello, I'm here for D&D night. I don't know how to play. And I was like so nervous.
That's so sweet,
I
though.
know.
I was intimidating doing that at PAX Unplugged. I can only imagine you in the city doing
I've
that.
never had the balls because I've always wanted to get into. Sorry to bump your mic. I've always wanted to get into D&D.
Yeah.
But like the last thing, I'm petrified at the thought of just going to like an event and being like, teach me. So that takes some
you have
fucking
to.
balls.
No, so I definitely not only have that planned, but there is a group at Brooklyn called the LAN Party. Shout out to the LAN Party, who actually I think not today, but next week on a Tuesday, they are they're hosting tables. They're
Oh,
hosting
yeah.
like
To
preset
teach?
tables for people to play. No
Ah.
experience necessary. You can make your character on the spot. Play
So
some tabletop.
I would
if
love
you're
to.
interested,
I genuinely would love to.
Yeah, go look up Brookland on their website or on their Instagram, and I'm sure you could find, because I don't know when this will come out, but I'm sure you can find the upcoming events and stuff. So if you're interested in that, do it. Support the community too, because if
Yeah.
you want to play those games, show Brookland that you want to do that, and they'll keep doing it.
I want to dive into some nostalgia and kind of pick your brain
Ah.
on your gaming
Our
Okay.
upbringing
favorite
and
topic.
experiences.
Oh boy.
Before, just like a quick observation I've had, and you both know much more about TTRPGs and Baldur's Gate than I do. Just like an observation I've always had is that it feels comforting. My favorite thing about Baldur's Gate is it feels like things are very much coming full circle.
Mm.
In that, D&D was invented in the early mid-70s and kind of shaped gaming to an extent. And early RPGs obviously were borrowing heavily, especially those text-based ones from your D&Ds and your tabletop RPGs. And they both kind of developed a little bit parallel and were kind of supporting each other. And now I feel like with the popularity of Baldur's Gate 3, it's all kind of coming full circle. And I feel like the link between gaming and TTRPGs are really kind of coming together. I don't know. It makes me.
I think so.
I'm into it.
I think so too, because before video games, there were written mechanics for a strategy game that included chance, with the roll of dice. And I think that definitely vice versa too, video games pluck from there and TTRPGs pluck from video games.
And both kind of had the genesis in the same era, 70s really was when both industries kind of were formed. So it's
and that being said, like Baldur's Gate 3 does amazingly well. It's such a beautiful game, but I think there is still something to be said for that separation. Like not every video game translates into a TTRPG.
Of course.
And not every TTRPG would be an interesting video game. But I think it is really cool that we can see like in pop culture now, a popular video game series becomes a TV series or a movie or a popular TTRPG, then it becomes a video game. Because I think all it does, if it's done well, all it does is allow people to like segue into those worlds and communities and figure out like, I've always wanted to, like, I'm not sure, let me try this out. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. It's how I get my friends to play D&D now. And my fiance plays Baldur's Gate 3 with me.
Amazing.
I never thought he would play that game.
That's
but he
amazing.
Loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it. And it just like, it warms my little heart.
That's great.
Me too. It also scares me that the meta is just combining to a giant blob.
We're just gonna have the singularity. You mean like
like it's just all one entertainment source.
If
and
the
it
singularity
all branches out from there.
is giving me those zaps that like Baldur's Gate 3 gives me, I'm good.
Wally,
I'll sit in my chair like this.
The Wally prediction of the future to many is a dystopia, but to me is like
sounds good to me.
Bring it on. Let's go. Let's go.
We've all had a rough time.
I would love to just chill.
Most millennials have had a rough time. I'd love to chill. It'd be cool.
Anyway.
It'd be dope. Nostalgia.
Judy,
I do like our stories. I do like our stories. That's important.
I am curious. This is my favorite question to ask, and we don't always have time for it. So I'm just jumping in because obviously this conversation's flowing. You're awesome. Love hearing about your experiences.
I love it.
Where did it all begin? Where was the genesis? What was the first video game you played, and how did your when did it kind of come from like, hey, video games are a thing, and I'm 7 to like, this is a part of like who I am and part of my, expression as well as a vital part of my entertainment for the rest of your life.
And now career,
Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating. I couldn't quite tell you because I've really been playing games since I was like a baby. I had the garage sale vintage, like NES, Atari, like I was playing all these little 8-bit, like I was playing Space Invaders with my family. Like I had these like Sesame Street games. Like I was playing like every game, like all the Mario Brothers, all the little ones. And it was very fun. And I had a lot of great memories. And
I gotta ask, because we brought this up before too. Did you have siblings who also brought you in? No.
Only child.
So it was only child, but your parents were
like your parents,
cool with
My mom was always chilling with me. Like, it was great.
Playing with you?
She would play with me or she would chill with me while I played.
That's a cool mom.
And like, it was a part of my life. It wasn't like everything I did. I was so lucky to have a variety of things that I did. But like, it was back then, no internet. We were listening to records. We were listening to the radio. We were watching TV together. We were, doing all kinds of other stuff together, drawing. And like she would cultivate as much as possible for me to do. Right.
But it is cool that she also was like,
video games was a part of that.
Yeah, I'll buy this at a tag sale and we'll play, like whatever. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. My immigrant mom had nothing to do with video games, didn't want anything to do with video games, but she just saw me having all that so much fun and like enforced it.
I feel like for me, I definitely like loved video games growing up. As a kid, played them like in the summer. I would rent games from Blockbuster and like re-rent them until I could like beat them and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Right.
I was obsessed. I loved it. My parents, my dad liked video games. Like he was like, yeah, we had a PlayStation and stuff. And he was like, I like playing PlayStation. But I took a big break when I went to college because I didn't have a TV and I didn't have game system. Like I didn't bring my stuff with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta really be an adult now. No more video games.
That's how I got into sports. I was like, I can't be a video gamer.
And I'm so sad because then I came back to it and I was like, I had missed so much, like huge chunks of gaming in the industry that I just missed out on, just completely never played. You never stopped?
So I definitely, there were things that I missed out on just because of like the direction that I went in. But yeah, no, I definitely didn't stop. In fact, like, I would, unfortunately, my tastes changed very quickly from like Barbies to Nintendo 64s. So my mom was very cautious about like getting me my one present a year and making sure that when I got one game, I beat it, and then if I get the next one,
N64 was
expensive.
nutty. I always talk about this.
it was a serious thing. And so I got a couple more consoles, and for serendipitously, I got my first computer when I was 13.
The perfect age.
And from then on, it was a wrap.
Was
and
it
then
a
shortly
Dell?
after, it was a Sony Vaio desktop.
I think my sister got her Dell at 13. 13 is
It was
like
definitely that slate gray color, though.
getting, hers was fugly. But I feel like when you're 13, getting a computer
Insane.
is just like, your brain
Magical.
explodes. Like, so many
Magical.
possibilities. I think we played a lot of Kid Pics.
I played
art
so
on it,
many.
made a lot of art on it.
Absolutely.
This is not my experience.
What?
but-
Oh my God.
no.
Me and
I
my
mean,
sisters would sit at the computer and set timers because we would be like, it's my turn. Like 30 minutes are up. And we would just like watch each other play The Sims and stuff.
I can kind of relate in that I finally had like full access to the family computer by like 13, but we're talking like a Windows 98 type situation. I didn't get my own internet access unmonitored until like 16, 17. I got an
okay.
old ass iPod Touch, which I think I paid for with my own money. So
Amazing.
That was your internet
I
access.
just-
Was your iPad?
I mean, like just full on computer access to the world at 13 to
Yeah.
me is a little foreign.
Now-
but nowadays, I mean, those kids have access.
Now
since
it's a
they're
little
4.
scary and
It also
commonplace.
shaped me permanently. Like,
Sure.
it definitely affected my brain chemistry for sure.
I
For
discovered
better or for worse.
E-Bomb's world
Exactly.
a little
Oh.
too young.
And the internet was a different place.
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely, for
15
better or
years
for
ago.
worse.
Right, yeah.
So then you
Anyway.
So with that,
continued.
like that kind of, between that and other things, I was able to, like, I was just grafted to games on the computer, both like, all the old games, all the old classics that you could emulate, and like, new free-to-play stuff that was coming out, and then all of, Steam, and then everything just...
Wait, so you were emulating like classic games back at like age 13? Because I still can't get that shit to run properly on my computer.
Come
I'm a
on.
slow boy.
You gotta hit up Judy.
I'll
She
help you
knows
out.
the tips
I
and the
could use
tricks.
the
you
help.
up. I'll
I'm
help
an
you out.
old man
It's
trapped
not,
in this.
it's not hard.
It's not
We
that
could do
hard.
it. We could do it.
I appreciate that.
So was there any game in your like adolescence that geared you? Because you said you started gaming in a different direction. Like you said, League was huge for like the esports stuff. But was there a game where you're like,
before League? So the people who got me into League, I knew from competitive Left 4 Dead. Believe it or not, there was a CEVO League for Left 4 Dead. So
What?
like we
That's
had
cool.
special rules. Left 4 Dead Versus is actually one of the funnest video game experiences I've ever had, and I can't recreate it.
Have you ever played, Marcus?
I love Left 4 Dead.
I know.
mean,
Did you
I
ever
played
play
the campaigns,
Versus?
not
No.
versus.
Oh,
no.
we have to.
I played it online, but always like
I'm
co-op.
scared.
I'll brave
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead 2
I'm
I don't like Left 4
scared.
Dead 2, and I'll play it with you
Okay.
because we need to try it. It's so fun when you get to be the monsters too.
I'm down.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I'm just scared. And I love horror games, but
Kills,
you
thrills,
get
and
like
chills.
scared of the game. I'm a weenie for most
I get
horror
s-
films, but
I get
Left 4 Dead doesn't do it for me.
but more in the way that I'm just like yelling and like hitting my buttons. But like I've played, The Last of Us, and I just screamed through the whole thing and cried, and I loved it. So I will play any horror game. I play like Lethal Company now with friends, and it's such a blast.
Mhm.
I love
I can't play Phasmophobia.
No, it's too much. Yeah, it's fucking creepy. The
It's
jump
way too
scares are another type of game.
We're
but
100% getting both of you on Kills, Thrills, and Chills next
we
season.
should be. That's another show
100%.
ESR does, and it's a ton of fun. We should be on it.
I might cry.
Good.
That's okay.
That's good.
That's
That's good TV.
content.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I know we're coming towards the end, but I did also want to touch on and plug you because you're so talented.
Yeah.
Your voiceover work.
I miss it. I miss it so much. I actually think some of the most creative fun I ever had was like while I was in leaderboard with y'all and like doing the cool fun
But I'm not
voiceover
even,
stuff.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about also your video game voiceover
Well, yeah,
work.
I say
Yeah.
all that because I was also auditioning then. I was motivated to
Yeah.
audition then, and I was able to get a bunch of stuff. And so, yeah, we were talking about it before.
Tell
I was,
the people what you're on because I love this game and it's like I'm just like giddy that you're
No,
on
this
it.
this
Me
woman,
too.
she's so humble too. I was like, wait, what? Like when she told us.
I'm the hammer in Boyfriend Dungeon.
which is, if you're not familiar, an amazing indie game where basically it's a dungeon crawl to find your boyfriend. And there's a lot of different boyfriends.
It's so wonderful. It's like you get to date your weapons. It's the most precious experience because it's half of a dungeon crawler and half of a little
Sim.
story.
Dating
Is it like a dating? How would you
Similar.
describe it?
Yeah, I would say it's dating sim in nature, but you're not like necessarily dating. Like not actually. There's a romantic and there's like a non-romantic kind of storyline.
Oh, okay.
Basically, each character, in addition to like falling in love with you, is having like an emotional moment that you help them navigate. So it's very sweet. Like one of them is having conflict with a parent. One of them is my character Leah was struggling between her passion and her competitive nature in sports. I was like, Did you write this?
Did you write this about me? Did you write this with me in mind?
You know, because she just wants to be a stylish, like fashion designer or something. It was very wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
So I definitely think everyone should. One of them was like a pop star who wants to just like go solo or something. And,
Love that.
And so you as the character, like as you're crawling the dungeon, they like transform into a weapon that you can use to like fight baddies. The dungeon itself is like you processing your emotions and feelings as well. It's very cute.
My type of indie game, and I follow them. I believe is it Foxfire Studio?
Yeah, I think it's Kit Fox.
Kit Fox Studio. I follow them on Instagram, and
They're great.
I've seen them at PAX and stuff, and like they're super nice too. Like they're really cool people, and I'm a big fan of what they put out. And I remember when Boyfriend Dungeon, when it was just like in the pre-pro stuff, and they were talking about it, and I was like, I can't wait for this game. So I'm just fangirling over you.
It's insane. I remember seeing one of the first demos that I saw at like Game Devs of Color Expo. And I remember talking to one of the reps and being like, can I have your email? I'm a new voice actor. I would love to just anything for free. Never heard back from them.
But
Years passed by. Then I answered an open casting call. And they were like,
remember.
actually, we have a character. Actually,
no way.
This character could suit you. Could you try this?
Did they remember
and
you?
it was
and
Leah. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Maybe,
I don't think
though.
so.
But maybe.
But
that's
could
what
be.
networking's all about. It's like you don't know
Maybe.
what
I
seeds
don't
you
know.
plant and to blossom.
All I know is that I was really jazzed about that game for a very long time, and it just like felt so exciting to be able to be a part of it.
If you're looking for a cool indie game, check it out.
Yes.
Boyfriend Dungeon, and you can hear Judy's beautiful voice on it. And I wish I
Not
know
a sponsor.
not a sponsor,
Yeah.
but like, hey,
This
if you
was a
want to,
surprise for us.
if you want to hang out, that's Kit Fox. Like, we would love to partner with you. But I was gonna say, I know with your job and everything else that you do, there's not a lot of time for voiceover work. But would you want to do more if the opportunity arises?
Absolutely, if I could, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
I have one last question for us before we wrap it up. It's a bit loaded. So,
boy.
I mean,
Okay.
do your best to be concise, but I know it's
Cracks
there's a
knuckles.
lot
I'm
out here.
braced.
Breathes out
Okay.
deeply.
So we all come from different backgrounds, the three of us. But we all are kind of united in the fact that during our time in the leaderboard, we all kind of were exposed to the vitriol of the internet and YouTube comment section and video game community toxicity at kind of its potentially worst. From your perspective as someone who has constantly had their finger on the pulse of esports and the gaming community with very limited breaks, in the last 5 years, do you think the gaming culture in general has gotten better towards, resolving toxicity, gotten a little worse? Or do you think it's just kind of an inevitable product of, mass appeal type market and that these are things that are always going to exist and just need to be ignored?
And the anonymous nature that the internet has become of being a faceless name where you can say whatever you want.
And obviously, you're both women and I'm a man, so my perspective is different than I think what you've faced, through these experiences. I'm just curious what your perspective on that is.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think it's an interesting thing to consider because, before we mentioned for better or for worse, gaming has evolved and has come into the mainstream. I do think that, in general, internet media has shifted in a way that makes it extremely that stuff is very good at coming to the surface, unfortunately, lately. I think the way the internet has shifted has made that a lot more easy. So whether or not it's more prolific than it was before, we were in the trenches back there.
Yeah.
We were
Right.
in the niche communities that were kind of fostering some of this stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So like that's a little bit tough to see it. It's
Yeah.
almost like we have seen it sort of bubble up to now the mainstream where in the way that it's in the way that it, so do I think that's what is dominating? No, I definitely think that there are a lot of incredible communities out there fostering amazing experiences. And I think now that we are growing up to become the organizers of these movements, the like curators of these communities, we can do so with more like, understanding of
Yeah.
what makes a good, wholesome space.
Yeah.
Whereas before, kind of people were just slapping stuff together and hoping for the
It's a
best.
little more
You-
Wild West.
You
now
make
it's a little...
you make a good point though. Like there is now the ability to screen record and grab, and people are much more careful about what they say, knowing that if you say some fucked up shit, it might end up on Reddit, on whatever, Instagram, and people might not be a fan of you anymore, especially in the esports community. I mean,
Yeah.
sportsmanship is a huge aspect of the
Mhm.
esports community. You'll get banned, you'll get kicked
Right.
off a team, you'll get suspended. So I think you're right, but it's also like people are more covert about it
it's just-
because of that.
I think it's just, it's this microcosm is indicative of a wider society of, freedom of speech still exists in a digital information age, but actions also have consequences. And it's, I think it's just kind of, as you're saying, becoming more mainstream, and it's kind of, you can't get away with as much in a niche community anymore.
Overtly,
Exactly.
yeah.
But at the same time, those kind of negative
I
bubbling
think
still exist.
what cures that in my mind when I get bummed, my algorithm will spit me a video of like a literal child on like Roblox or on Among Us, and people are being so nice to them, and
That's
they're
sweet.
like, the child is like, "Yay, $10,000," and the guy's like, "Here, I'm gonna give you like, I'll give you 10,000, yeah, sure, whatever." Like in Roblox, and the kid's
Okay.
like, "No, wait, that's too much," and he like gives him back a bunch of money, and
Aw,
I'm
that's
like,
sweet.
these kids who are coming up in this age of the internet,
Yeah.
I do feel like there are good people out there
Mhm.
in those communities who are trying to positively, pump some positivity
Yeah.
into it.
And it's
Go ahead.
No, I don't mean to interrupt. It was the same when we were, doing our thing. It's those negative comments tend to scream louder than the positive
Totally,
ones,
totally.
and that's part of the nature of it too. It's
Oh my
like,
gosh, that Fallout! I narrated a Fallout
Oh,
video
I'm sorry.
that was just like had full of corny, terrible jokes.
course.
And like wrong facts. Literally, things
Yeah,
were wrong
Yeah,
Eaten alive,
every time, no
Oh, yeah.
matter what. No matter what.
no.
but it makes
I still
makes
get
us
flack for my Smash Brothers.
it makes
video.
us stronger. It makes us get the tough
But like,
skin.
yeah,
I
I
wrote
mean,
that.
at the end of the day, like, they posted a couple words.
Yeah.
They said some things that hopefully they felt less about it than I do.
I think that's a note to take away too for gamers out there and like viewers. The internet is a made up place,
Mhm.
So like take everything with a pound of salt. And if somebody says something, get that victory and move on. Like who cares?
Yeah, and also the truth is there's just so much going on right now.
True.
There's so
Yeah.
much going
So
on right
many
now.
games out
Everything is
there.
a little bit absurd.
Yes.
Everything is a little absurd. So
And speaking of so much going on, we have to wrap it up because we have another segment to jump to. But Judy, please plug yourself one last time. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming on.
it was
Tell the
so
people.
good to be on. I love
Yeah.
y'all. I miss y'all
Oh, I
so
miss
much.
you.
We miss you
Tell the
too.
people where to find you.
Thank you so much. I'm Judy. I'm Jetset on the internet. Find me on Instagram at Queen Jetset. Find me on Twitter at Jetset_. On Twitch at Jetset. I stream occasionally. I want to get back to it. And
At Brookland.
Yeah.
at
Come,
Brookland.
come hang. Come play some video games. And we're going to jump to our tier list, so
Don't
stick
cry.
around. Don't cry. I know. It's like I feel like we ease into the tier list
did.
just in case people are crying off screen.
I'm sad Judy isn't here because I feel like she could help us
know.
with this.
She would have had some strong opinions.
Mhm.
But we are doing a tier list today of campaign stories in
Mhm.
video games.
Or just overall campaign experiences.
Experiences, sure.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah.
experiences.
So gameplay mixed with story, mixed with pacing, all that good stuff.
And this is a list pre-generated, so there's a
Yes.
lot of video games that aren't on the list, so don't start freaking
Yeah.
out. We know there's a lot of wonderful campaigns out there. We're just
Mhm.
looking at what we got.
We're working with what we see in front of us and are going to rate it as we see fit. So.
I'm going to pick one right off the bat that stands out to me. That's going to be an Elder Scrolls game, a little something called
Sure.
Skyrim.
That's a great way to
It's
start.
just, it like has stood the test of time. There's so, and it's to be fair, it's an open world RPG, so
Yes.
like there are so many different ways you can go about things,
Mm-hmm.
which I think really is why it makes for such a wonderful campaign and game. I think it's an S.
Yeah, the only thing that would stop me from putting it as an S is there another Elder Scrolls game that you would consider the campaign being stronger than Skyrim? There's an argument for Oblivion, I feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say Oblivion would be the only one
Yeah.
that I could think of.
However, I'm going to check my nostalgia at the door.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my tie-ins to these games have to do with when they came out and when I played them in my life.
Mhm.
And I think looking objectively, there is a reason why Skyrim is still being played, modded, streamed, and Oblivion is not. I think
There's clunkiness with Oblivion.
yeah, Oblivion's just like a little too old.
It's got the Bethesda kind of rust that you get with Fallout 3 and New Vegas, where it's like, yeah, I think if they were perfectly executed and in a modern day sense with like patches and stuff would be perfect, but they're not because they're stuck kind
don't
of
hear
where
me
they're
wrong.
released.
Full remaster of Oblivion, I wouldn't be mad.
For sure.
All right, your turn.
But we're agreeing.
Oh yeah, conversation over.
Sorry, no. Sky. I almost just said Skyfall.
Skyrim
is an S.
for Skyrim.
Well, and again, just last point, not to waste half our time on Skyrim, but I feel like if you were to take both and just plop it into someone who's been living under a rock for 30 years and presented all of the Elder Scrolls games, I think Skyrim ultimately
they would gravitate towards Skyrim.
Would be the best.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Skyrim's an S. I'm going to go a completely different direction and go like pure nostalgia and personal preference. I see Alien Isolation on here.
Ooh.
A video game based on my favorite movie, Alien from 1979. I fucking love this game. I love the campaign so much. I've played it a few times. For me, it's an S. I'm going to reel it back a little bit, put it into like a solid A.
Okay.
Do you have any opinions to say otherwise?
Never played this game.
So I'll give it an A. For me, it's an S. I think overall it's an A.
I have one that might be tricky for us. Mass Effect.
Ooh.
Because I want to put it in an S.
We're starting with a lot of bangers.
I know. And like, again, stood the test of time, replayability. People love Mass Effect. I feel like it was the first game a lot of people played with like morality issues. I mean, Mass Effect, they also have Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. I don't know.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to like bundle them all and put them in the same category because some would argue that's sort of a campaign, like the continuation of their stories, but
Mass Effect in general, for me, I played it for the first time as a trilogy.
Okay.
I think I got the full trilogy on sale for like $3. It was ridiculous. From what I understand, Mass Effect 2 is the most highly revered. If I were to rank them individually, I'd put 1 and 3 as low A's and 2 as a high A. Collectively, I think they transcend to an S.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we're being generous, but I kind of love that all together because of that. It is such a wonderful trilogy. I say let's do it.
Okay, I love it. All right, let's get a little controversial. Is there anything that jumps out at you from here that's like not a good campaign?
The Harry Potter game? They included
some
the
weird
Harry
stuff in
Potter
here.
game. I also think it's in French on this list. Can you zoom in? Is it in French?
I believe it is.
It's only one Harry Potter game as well, and it's not even Lego Harry Potter, which I think has a better campaign than the actual Harry Potter.
I'm just going to lean
games.
back on my argument of there's certain situations where books and film can tell a story better, and we're talking campaigns.
There's
than
no
a Harry
need.
Potter. No,
And Hogwarts Legacy is out now, and that has its own spin where you get to like make your own wizard and shit.
Well, okay, how about this? I'll put all these Harry Potter games in like low C.
Is there more than one?
Well, let's just throw this in here. Hogwarts Legacy. What would you put that campaign as?
No, it's not high. It's
B.
not. Yeah, B maybe. So let's say C.
Okay.
Let's say C.
Deal. Bet. Let's see here. What else do we got?
I know what you're gonna have trouble with.
What's that?
Fallout. Because
Wow.
they've got Fallout and Fallout 3. I don't even think they have Fallout 4.
Well, my favorite Fallout is New Vegas.
Yeah,
But
a lot of
again,
people's
like
are.
a little bit unplayable. But are we judging just campaign? Like I said, overall experience. My argument is the same with Skyrim, where it's not my favorite, but Fallout 4 as a campaign alone might be an S. I think I have to knock Fallout 4 just a step below Skyrim.
Okay.
And even though I prefer the Fallout series as a whole more than I do the Elder Scrolls series, but I think the apex of Fallout is as a campaign is 4, and I would put that as an A, not an S.
And as gameplay, New Vegas. You said it's your favorite.
It's my favorite for a lot of things, though. It's my favorite for nostalgia, gameplay, story, mechanics. But nostalgia is a big one.
Let's say collectively then.
If you've never played again, I'm looking at this lens of someone who's lived under a rock, who's never played a Fallout game, and you present all of these. And Fallout 4 is the most playable, digestible, smooth experience. I think it needs to be the representative of the series at this point in time.
Okay.
Is that controversial? If you can strip away all the issues, the technical flaws of 3, I think you put 3 in there, and then New Vegas is like the indie, like, oh, I really know Fallout. That's my choice.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I'm going for the spinoff.
So
I'm cool. I like Rogue One. That's my favorite Star Wars movie. Like that kind of situation.
That kind of fan.
Yeah.
So where are you putting it? What was the final answer?
A.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. A. And I'm trying to be a little more harsh here. Let's see what else. Pokemon.
Which one?
Any of them. What's your favorite campaign in any Pokemon? For me, it's Silver Gold, but obviously that's very dated. Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
I played Red.
Red works.
I don't know if it's my favorite per se.
Pokemon to me is about world building and about overall
That's really silly. Pokemon to me is about collecting them all.
Well, that's what I mean, though, too. It's like there's an overall... It's not the actual story of collecting the gym badges and beating your rival and all that stuff. So for a campaign...
It's odd. I don't know.
I put it as a B.
Okay, I put it as a B, too.
This is controversial.
Lastly, I'm going to throw in... This one's weird that they included it, but the Walking Dead games, I used to play them on my iPad.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed them. I liked the art style. It completely took a different turn than I thought they were going to go in with a Walking Dead zombie game. A lot of morality choices, almost like a Goosebumps choose your own adventure book, very narrative.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it honestly as an A.
I agree with that.
For the campaign. I agree with that. Great campaign.
Well, and the Walking Dead video game kind of launched the Traveler's Tales kind of how do you describe choose your own adventure gameplay style?
It is like narrative with minimal combat, choose your own adventure.
Yes. And I think the only thing stopping it from an S is just the fatigue of Walking Dead in general, which isn't Traveler's Tales' fault at all. I want to be a little harsh on a couple of things here.
Let's do a rapid fire harsh read for Marcus because we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean this list is not doing me a lot of favors. I'm going to be honest with you.
You can be mean.
Battlefield, all the Battlefield campaigns. C, just because it never, ever, ever became as memorable as a Call of Duty campaign.
So.
Which, outside of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, all of them lie in a B. Number 4 is a low A to me.
B for brutal.
Paper Mario, the original, because I'm a biased Nintendo fanboy, is an S. Thousand Year Door is an S. Everything else is a C.
You're such a brat.
I don't give a fuck. What else do we got here?
Last one.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain. Okay, last one.
Jason!
It's weird to end on Heavy Rain, but Heavy Rain, where are you going to put it?
B.
Okay.
Heavy Rain, I don't like. I don't like what it did to the industry.
Oh, interesting.
That's a take for another day. But then we got a ton of games that were just like narrative walking simulators, essentially, and fuck you for that, Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain narrative walked so other games could narrative run.
So I have 2 that I would put 1 in C and 1 in D.
Okay.
All right. So we have GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which a lot of people don't think about. They tried to capitalize on the success of GoldenEye about 5 years later.
I never thought about this game in my whole life.
PS2, GameCube, Xbox, Nintendo, DS, all that good stuff. It was like a sequel to GoldenEye without being associated with any Bond films and had like Goldfinger and Oddjob and Dr. No all in there.
Sounds bad.
But you're also like working with them against MI6. It was a weird amalgamation of like every James Bond trope, and it was weird and it was bizarre, but it was creative and it was original, and I respect it for that. And therefore I put it as a low B, high C.
Okay, and what's the D?
What I really want to talk about is the GoldenEye remake, where they're like, let's take GoldenEye, one of the best Bond movies and the best Bond video game, let's retell it with Daniel Craig and also pretending it's a Bourne game. Because this was like 2010.
Right.
And they were like,
Prime.
Obviously we have to. So you took an amazing piece of media, shout out Sean Bean, and basically bastardized it through like a Call of Duty clone Bourne ultimatum sphincter and just shat it out.
So they ruined not only like Bourne stuff, but they also ruined
GoldenEye,
Bond
one
stuff.
of the best James Bond movies. And at the time, it was received moderately well,
But in hindsight,
but instantly became forgotten. And it's a bastardization of one of the greatest video games of all time, GoldenEye on Nintendo 64.
Controversy for the GoldenEye remake.
The fact that they took already an amazing campaign and just
Slaughtered it.
literally dropped trow and shat all over it, like, problem.
So that's a D for Dookie.
It's a D for Dookie.
I think that about wraps it up.
Wraps it up.
I think that's it for that.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on GoldenEye remake. Stick around. We have Postmark News with Samurai coming up, and I'm sure he's going to have a spicy prediction for us. Hi, I'm Sydney Amanuel. I'm 5 foot 8 inches, Oh my God, sorry, I thought I was self-taping for a second. We are doing post-market news. Oh my gosh, Marcus.
Yeah, the only thing more painful than a self-tape is
Be nice.
Welcome, Samurai. How are you today?
How are you guys doing? That felt like a loaded intro.
Samurai, we've had a long day, and we're so happy to have you here because we need a reprieve from just everything going on in the world, you know? I need to know some positive stuff about the future.
We also need a nice little button on our show and fill a little bit of time. So you're here to give us a bold prediction about the future. What is it?
I got bad news for you guys. This prediction is not going to go down easy.
Oh.
This is going to be a tough-to-accept prediction,
Oh.
and I have no buttons on my jacket.
Are you right?
Got me there.
Brace yourself for this.
Okay.
We've all been waiting a long time for BioShock 3. Would you agree?
No, BioShock 3 is BioShock Infinite. What are you talking about?
Okay, BioShock 4. Nobody cares about BioShock 2, Marcus. Get with the program.
What? No, a lot of people care about.
No, they don't care about BioShock 2. Marcus, what are you talking about? A lot of people are waiting for a follow-up to BioShock Infinite this time with his words and his timelines.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, been over a decade since the last BioShock game, and we've been waiting a long time. After a long break, my visions are telling me, as I can peer into the future, the next BioShock game, like how the first one, we know, took place underwater in a city called Rapture.
Correct.
And then the Infinite one, because we don't care about the second one.
Which is also in Rapture.
Which is also in Rapture. The second one took place in a sky city called Columbia.
And then you go back to Rapture in the DLC.
Spoilers, but yes. Third game, fourth game, whatever, is going to take place on the microscopic level. It's going to be a tiny game. It's going to take place inside of a grain of rice in a microscopic city where the player character will have to fight microbes with powers and to escape and become large again. And the whole premise of the game, the whole objective of the character is to become large. And every couple seconds, you're going to hear him say, I got to get large again.
Who's saying that?
The player that you're playing.
Wait, what is he going to say every few seconds?
I got to get large. I got to become large.
Wait, why? Wait, why? Why are you small? Like, how did he get small?
Because
why is he small? If the whole premise is that he's got to get big again, you have to say why he's small. What happened?
Because obviously he was visiting the rice factory and he fell into their shrink ray. That's how they make rice so small.
It's like Spider-Man 3 with Sandman.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Hayden Christian Church or whatever his name is.
Like, this is superhero. This is only superhero
He got
logic.
spun around in the thing and he went, no!
Why? Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. With the BioShock universe, it has nothing to do with rice or getting small.
It had nothing to do with cities in the sky until they went there.
Okay, that's actually, well.
I mean, sort of. I just want to, can I hear the catchphrase one more time?
Can you just say what happens when he's small? What does he need to do?
What does he say? I don't know.
Every couple of seconds, you will hear him say, I just gotta get large.
Thank you so much, Samurai.
I don't know why that's killing me today,
I think
but you got me.
I think that's all we have time for.
You broke me, and so I can't help but agree with this prediction. On the Simpsons predictability meter, I would give it. Remember that Treehouse of Horror where Lisa's taking care of a little microscopic community based on Twilight Zone?
In the Petri dish.
Yeah, and then Bart comes over and becomes their god.
Yeah.
Whatever
Honestly,
that is, that's my
the same
ranking.
thing. Yeah, it's a tooth and soda, and then the whole civilization build. So I'm gonna give it the same rating.
You know, pretty good episode. So,
Treehouse of Horror is great. Thanks so much, Samurai. This has been Postmarket News. We are Next Level Play. Marcus,
We'll see you next time as we make more bold predictions about the future, analyze what we see in the industry, have some amazing guests, and just talk about video games. Thanks for watching.
Large.
I gotta get large.
I gotta get large. I gotta get large now.